the School Connect project basically has two major pitches. So we go into a school or any educational center. So it could be a post-school center, it could be a preparatory class for JAMB or any external examination. And then we run them through, a module for 4 different weeks. So we come every week for about an hour or two. We take a topic, we address their questions, and then we come back again the next week. And before doing all of this, we do a pre-test and we also do a post-test to conclude to see the difference in level of information and knowledge they now have. Now, apart from this as well, the very interesting dynamics to this, and this is where we get, the best of our responses, is that we do what we call the anonymous question session, where we take a box, usually a very colorful box, and then we ask young people, we call them AYPs, adolescent and young persons, to write their questions. Don't put your name. If you need to change your handwriting, if you're scared that someone will see it, go ahead and feel free to do that and write any of your questions.
One of the things we talk about during School Connect session is abstinence. These days abstinence is not really preached or really talked about in the media because of other options that are available on reproductive health. But for adolescents and young persons in school and out of school, they still need to know about abstinence. Okay, abstinence is the 100% way that prevents adolescents from sexually transmitted infections and unintended pregnancies.
Well, we were exposed to new things like the fact that it's not just about sex alone, and abstinence is not just about staying away. There are other ways to abstain and other things to abstain from.
Alright, so some of the challenges that adolescents and young people face is also one of those sessions we actually have when we go around for the School Connect project. I remember growing up as a young person, one of the things that was always a major concern to me was my body size. I'm saying this against the backdrop that we talk about, body image, we talk about issues of self-esteem. I always felt I was really lean. I remember some of my friends then used to call me skinny bone. Now this has not changed today. We have several adolescents and young persons out there who have various body image issues. Some of them, for example, in the hostels would think, my breast is smaller than that of others. For even some of the boys, they think I'm shorter than a number of people. So one of the things we really treat with them is to say, look, you are fine and perfect the way you are, and then we run them through various things they can actually do to ensure that when it comes to body image, they don't have any social issues. Another thing we also look at is peer influence. Now, peer influence is also a major deal to young people, and for two major reasons. Young people spend a lot of time outside their home with other young people. Secondly, they also see their friends who actually would brag and say, look, we smoked yesterday, we had a good party, I went to my girlfriend's place. They mention all of these things and it sounds very exciting to them. So what do we do with this is to help them understand that, look, how do we take them away from negative peer influence? How do we also drag them into the space of positive peer influence? Remember I said earlier on that young people spend a lot of their time, with their peers. Parents are at work, they are in school. After school, they have after-school lesson. And not just even for those, within the school, the formal school environment. We also have those who are outside the formal school environment. So it's still the same problem. So how do you deal with various forms of, peer influence, or what we also call peer pressure?
A lot of adolescents don't know how to say no. Another question we got during one of our sessions is again asking that how can she answer guys when they come to her? She doesn't know what to do. Maybe she should abuse them, maybe she should run away, what can she do? So we actually teach them, they role play it, different ways of saying no. And finally, I'm going to answer a particular question that students ask us in almost all School Connect projects, like in almost all schools, and this question is, at what age should we have sex? And the answer that we give to them is, you can actually have sex when you are physically, psychologically, emotionally, and even financially matured to take up every consequence that comes up with your sexual activity.
Okay, right to privacy, right to liberty, so right to education and information on comprehensive sexuality.
With the age of sexual debut at 15 and the high rates of STIs and unintended pregnancy among young people in Nigeria, we provide a non-judgmental environment for young people to ask questions and understand their reproductive health and rights while connecting them with relevant services.
So we have a law in Nigeria called the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which talks about the fact that young people who actually go ahead, even as if you're not up to 14, the law actually recognizes that you could get a jail term of not more than 14 years for young people who actually go ahead to rape, to rape another. So we help them see all of this. Apart from this as well, there's also the growing issue of gang rape. There's the issue of revenge pornography. These are trends that we see basically in society today, that various forms of young people are actually engaging. Again, those in the formal space, those who are artisans, those who are learning a trade, those are tutorial centers. So we run through all of this just to make sure that these major challenges of adolescents and young persons are taken care of. So we move them from a position of not knowing what the consequences of their actions could be to a point where they really know that, look, any of this activity actually has very dire consequences. And having this information is part of what we call the comprehensive sexuality education, which we run through the School Connect project to ensure that ultimately young people have the kind of information they need to end up making informed decisions.
Secondly, I learned that we should stay away from some painful acts or some things that could make us do the wrong thing.
Yes, I really enjoyed it, and I would like to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful about this opportunity.
School Connect. Thank you very much.